Hello guys, so I'm back with the video solutions of this percentage basics. We have discussed many questions in class, but I will cover each and every question. Uh, let just to be begin with, assumption is very important when you are dealing with percentages, as I've already mentioned in class. If you are able to assume things correctly, then the calculations becomes very easy. So suppose in the very first question, there are two numbers x, y, respectively 20%, 28% less than the third number z. By what percentage is the number y less than the number x? Now see, less than, more than. The reference is the base. The reference is the base that you have to keep in mind. Base will form your denominator. Base will form your denominator. That is one thing that you will have to keep in your mind. So suppose if 100, if you will assume z as 100, then 28% less than z, that will be 20% less than z, that will be 80, that will be our x. 28% less than z, that will be 72, that will be our y. Now the difference between them is 8, and we have our new base is x less than x, so 8 by 80, so that we got our difference as into 100, 10%. Quite a simple question, quite a simple question. So we'll move forward. Okay, see, in this question, Anita's test is 70 problems. 70 problems are there. We will start drawing. 10 arithmetic, 30 algebra, 30 geometry. 30 geometry, okay. She answers 70% of the arithmetic. 70% of arithmetic means 7 of 10. 40% of algebra means 40% of 30. We will calculate here if you want to, like 40 upon 100 into 30, cross, 4 threes are 12. So 12 here, and 30, 60% of 30, 60% of 30. Similarly, 60 by 100 into 30, same, 6 threes are 18. This is how we got it. Now, she did not pass the test because she got less than 60% marks. The number of questions more she would have to answer correctly to earn 60% marks is. Now, see, so the 60% of this, 60% of 70 is 60 by 70 by 100. Again, say 42. And how many questions did she did correctly? 18 plus 12 plus 7, that is 37. So she is short of 5 questions. Simple question. Five questions. She is short of 5 questions. This is how it is. It should be done. So we just drew this diagram. Based on this, we found the questions of number of questions that she had done. We from 60% data, we found that how many questions she should have done to get 60%, and we found that this difference, that is 5 questions. So if she would have done 5 more questions, then she would have made it to the passing marks. Okay. Now this question, third. Okay. Again, we will assume 100 out of 100, 60 are men, 40 are women. 70% of men, that means 70% of 60, that means 70% of 60, 70 upon 100 into 60, again same, 42. And 75% of women, that means 75 by 100 into 40, 3 by 4 into 40, that means 30. Cleared the qualifying test, entered the final test, okay. This was this 80% of men in 70% of women were successful. 80% of men and 70% of women were successful. So now we have to find 80% of this number. 80% of this number will be, see, 10% of this is 4.2. 20% will be 8.4. So when you will subtract 8.4 from this, that will 33.6. You will get 80% of this number. This is how it should be done in an easy way. Now 70% of this number, 70 by 100 into 30. It is quite easy. 73 to 21. So obviously men, 33.6 is greater than 21. So more men cleared the examination than women. This is how we use assumption. This is how we do calculations in percentages. It is quite easy if you are good at this. A person ordered 5 pairs of black socks, say some pairs of brown socks. Okay. Let the some pairs be X and 5 for black and X of brown. Okay. Clear? Now the price of black pair was thrice of that of brown pair. So it is priced as P. It will be priced as 3P. Okay. While preparing the bill clerk interchanged the number and brown pairs by mistake. It was increased. The bill was increased by 100%. That means the bill became twice. Increased by 100% means 200%. 100% was original, so that means twice. So the bill has become twice. Okay. what was the number of crown pairs? So we have to find this x. We have to find this x. Now 5 into 3p, like the number of black socks, and the number of X socks. Original bill into 2 is the new bill. 5p plus X into 3p. So these are our equations. This is our language of maths. These are our new equations. So from here we get that 15p plus xp into 2 is equals to 5p plus 3xp. Okay. Now when you will cancel out p from everywhere, so you will find that 30 plus 2x is equals to 5 plus 3x. So you will get x is equals to 30 minus 5, that is 25. That is our answer. That is our answer. 30 minus 5, that is 25. So it is quite easy. Okay. Now this fifth question. So this is a question from set theory. So see, do not read any magazine if you have to find now. So this is our universal set, and these are the people. These are the readers of magazine A, B, and C. Let's say this. So who are the people who do not read any magazine? Who are the people who do not read any magazine? We'll find the union of this. We'll find this number, like those who are reading any magazine. We'll find this number. Let 100 be the total number, and we will subtract this number from this to find the people who do not read any magazine. There is no other way of finding this thing. So this is 100, and we'll find this number. We'll find this number based on the data given, and when you subtract these numbers, we'll find the people who will not read any magazine. Okay, and these things we will deal more in the set theory thing. Set theory, when we'll read set theory. So if the total number is 100, then the number of magazine of population is 45, 55 of B, and 40 of C. These should be added directly. Then we will subtract the intersections, because see these this intersection area. Suppose if this is the intersection area between A and B, so this is counted twice. This was counted in A as well, and this was counted in B as well. So we will subtract it. We will subtract it. So minus 30, minus 15, and minus 25. Now see the common intersection. The common intersection of all these things, this area, this has been subtracted twice. This has been subtracted from this has been subtracted, so we'll add this thing. So we'll add this thing again. And when you will add this thing, so this is 85 plus 55 minus 30. So this will become 80. So when you will subtract this from 100, 20. These are the people, these are the people who do not read any magazine, and don't just get overwhelmed with this question. Don't get overwhelmed with this question, because this is a question of set theory, and these Venn diagram, and we will understand in our later classes. So don't worry about this thing right now. Okay, now a candidate attempted only 8 questions and secured 50% of marks in each question. In each question. So suppose every question was of 1 marks each. So he is getting 1 by 2 marks each, and total he got 4 marks. Okay, he obtained 40% in the test. All the questions carried equal marks. How many questions were there in the test? So he got 4 is equal to 40% of x. This is given. 40% of x, it is given. So total x will become 10. X is equals to 10. So just assume 1 marks each, and then you are done. So it is quite an easy question. Okay, seventh question. So A and B decide to travel from X place to Y. A has 10 rupees with him. He finds that he has 80% of the bus fare for two persons. 80% of the bus fare for two persons. Okay. B finds that he has rupees 3 with him and hands it over to A. In this context, which of the following statement is correct? Now see, suppose basically A has 10 rupees. So 10 rupees is the 80% of bus fare. 80% of bus fare. Let's say it's X. So 80% of X is equals to 10. So 80 upon 100 into X is equals to 10. Okay. So X becomes 100 by 8, that is 12.5. So this is the fare for two people. This is the fare for two people. This is the fare for two people. Now we handed him 3 rupees. So 10 plus 3 became 13. 13. The fare was 12.5. Now they have 13 rupees. So after buying the two tickets, they will be left with 50 paise. That is the answer. Again, a simple application of percentages. This question is about voters. This is one of the favorite theme of UPSC because they want us to be like aware citizens. I don't know. So see, 100% were total voters. 80% casted their vote. 20% didn't cast their vote. Out of this 80%, 56% went to candidate A, X, and 44% went to candidate because there is no nota. So 44 will get to another candidate. Now this difference 12%. This 12% is 1440 votes that is given in the question. 12% of this number 12% of x, let's suppose say it is b, let's suppose, so 12% of b is 1440, that is 12 into b by 100 is equals to 1440. 12 12 is 144, so it will become, so b is equals to 12,000. That is the number of votes, that number of votes uh, casted is 12,000, but this is 80% of the actual number. This is 80% of the actual number. So we get 80% of, let's suppose the actual number was A, 80% of A, that is B, is equals to 12,000. So 80 by 100 into 100 is equals to 12,000. 80% of A is equals to 12,000. A will become, it's like 5 by 4 into 12,000, that is 15,000. 5 3 is 15, 15,000. These are simple calculations that you can do. Just remember this thing. The language of the question is how it is converted into the question of maths. Okay. Now 70% of a number x is added another number of y. The sum becomes 165% of y. That means 0.7, let's say 70 by 100 of x plus y is equals to 165 by 100 of y. Okay. Now, uh, in this proceeding in this direction, 70x plus 100y is equals to 165y. That is 70x is equals to 65y. That is our first equation. 70x is equals to 65y is our first equation. Similarly, 60x plus 100y, 100z is equals to 165z. This will give us 60x is equals to 65z. Okay, now based on these two equations, like 70x, let me write it here, 70x is equals to 65y and 60x is equals to 65z. Now, based on these two equations, can we say that y is greater than z? Because 60x is equals to 65z and 70x is equals to 65y. So, 70 by 65 obviously is greater than 60 by 65. So, y is greater than z, that is clear. Y is greater than z, that is clear. Okay, so either the answer is this, it cannot be the answer, this cannot be the answer. Either the answer is this or the answer is this. Now see, now see, 70x is equals to 65y. Now x is equals to 65 by 70 y. That is a number less than 1. If a number is less than 1 being multiplied to another number, the result is obviously smaller. The result is obviously smaller. So y is greater than x also. So the answer will be A. So the answer will be A. I hope it is clear. After forming these equations, no, you can try it like this. Proper and improper fraction. If the denominator is larger than the numerator, then the fraction is proper and it is less than 1. It is less than 1. And if the denominator is greater, then the denominator, then the fraction is greater than 1 because it is a mixed fraction. It is a mixed fraction, or you can understand it by common sense also. 70 is a greater number. If it will be divided by 65, the answer will be more than 1. Obviously, more than 1. Okay, so this is how you will do this thing. This is a simple question. It is a question of pi diagram with data sufficiency, but the concept of percentage will work here. So the total circle is 360 degree. So the total circle is 360 degree that we have to understand in a pie chart. And here the fractions are made like this, like 90 degree each, 90 degree. So if four equal parts are given. Now in this thing, for protein correspond to 16% and water correspond to 70%. If both proteins and other dry elements. So see, this 16% is just here to confuse us because protein is included in this P%. Protein is included in this P% and water is 70%. So this P% is equals to nothing but 30%, 100 minus 70. Okay, now you have to find this 30% of 360 degree. As I told you, the complete circle is of 360 degree. So this 30 by 100 into 360. Okay, it is nothing but 36 into 3, that is 108. 36 3 is the 108. So this is how we do this thing. This 16% was there only there to confuse us. The 60% was only there to confuse us. Okay, I hope it is clear. Uh, Quite a simple question. Okay, now see this thing. P scored 40 marks more than Q. More than Q, that means more than Q, that means the denominator will be Q. The denominator will be Q. Okay, in the examination. If Q scored 10 marks, 10% marks less than P, how much did Q score? So it is something like this. So P minus Q by P. Here it is less than P. P minus Q by P is equals to 40. P minus Q upon P is equals to 40. Now P minus Q, it is given as 40. Sorry, is equals P minus Q upon P into 100 is equals to 10%. It is given that it is 10%. Okay. And P minus P is given as 40. So 40 by P into 100 is equals to 10. So we get that P is equals to 400. We get that P is equals to 400. This is when you are doing the thing and Q will become 360. Q will become 360 when you subtract 40. So see, more than less than the base is determined. So Q score 10% less marks than P. That means P minus Q upon P into 100 is 10%. Then this 10% is given as 40. This P minus Q is given as 40. This P minus Q is given as 40. When you will put here, you will find P, and hence you can find Q. Of course, other way is that just go by the options. So 360 plus 40 will be 40, 400, and 10% of 400 will be 40, and that is the difference between 360 and 400. So this is how you can also do this question using options. Okay. Now 12th question. Transportation cost is proportional to the square root of distance. The cost is proportional to square root of distance, proportional to the volume of parcel, proportional to the volume V. If the distance is increased 4 times, so the distance has become 4 times, and the cost has remained same. Cost has remained same. That means V root D, V root D is equals to, cost has remained same. V root D is equals to V dash into 4D. V dash into 4D. We have to find the ratio of these volumes. So V dash by V dash by V is equals to 1 by 2. This will become 2D, 2 root D. Okay, so this will V dash will be 1 by 2. That means 50%. This was an easy question. If you know this proportionality thing, that is just one thing that you need to know. Okay, now in a test of 150 questions, Neha answered 40% of the first 90 questions. 40% of the first 90 questions means 40% of first 90 question means 40 by 100 into 90. That means 9 for the 36. So 36 questions she had done correctly. What percentage of the 60 questions she need to correct correctly to score that is to 60%. Now the 60% of 150. 60 into 150 by 100. That means 15 into 6. Now she has to do 90 questions correct. She has to do 90 questions correct. She has already done 36 questions correct. And she has to do 90 minus 36, 54 questions correct. Now this 54 is what percent of last 60 questions? So 54 by 60 into 100, that is 6 9 the 54 6 times the this, so 90%. This is how you will calculate. So this 654 is nothing but 90% of 60. 54 is nothing but 90% of 60. Okay, again an election question. 4,000 votes were polled. Suppose that every vote was polled in favor of either of the candidates, and Y got 40% of the vote and was defeated. What was the margin of defeat? What was the margin of defeat? Okay, see, 4,000 out of 4,000 vote, 40% went to Y. 40% went to Y. That means 2 by 5 of 4,000 is equals to 8, 1600. 1600 votes went to Y. Similarly, 60% like 3 by 5 into 4,000, 2,400 went to X. The difference is 800. The difference is 800. This is a simple question based on voting, but again, similar theme was repeated in CSAT paper also. 5% income of A is equals to 15% income of B, and 10% income of B is equals to 20% income of C. If the income of C is 2000, then what is the total income of ABC? So see, we will start with C is equals to 2000. So C is given as 2000. Okay. Now see, 10% of B is 20% of C. That means 10 by 100 into B is equals to 20 by 100 into C. Okay, 20 by 100 into C. Now, based on this thing, based on this thing, we can get B is equals to 2C. B is equals to 2C. All these things are cancelled out. B is equals to 2C. That means B is equals to 4000. B is equals to 4000. We have found A, we have found B. Now, 5% of A, 5 by 100 of A is equals to 15 by 100 of 15 by 100 of B into B. By cancelling this out, we get A is equals to 3B. A is equals to 3B, which will be 12,000. Now adding 12,000 plus 4,000 plus 2,000, we get 4 to 6, 12, 18,000. This is how we will do this thing. We just started with C. We went to find on B based on the equation. We went to find on A based on the equation. And then we found out the sum of all the ABC. Okay. In a certain group, 60% boys, 40% are girls. Okay. Now see, suppose 100 students were there, 100 students were there, so 60 were boys and 40 were girls. Okay. In the next 5 years, the number of boys decreased by 10%. 10% of this 60. Now they have become 54. Now they have become 54. Minus 6 कर देंगे, so that will be 54. And the girls increased by 40%, by 10%. 10% of this, that is plus 4. So they have become 44. They have become 44. Okay. So total strength now has become, earlier it was 100, total strength now has become 54 plus 44, 54 plus 44, that is 98. That is 98. So there is a 2% decrease. There is a 2% decrease. Okay. This is P has 20% more money than Q and 10% less money than R. If their total capital is 5300, if their total capital is 5300, then which of the following is not correct? Which of the following is not correct? Okay, see, P has 20% more money than Q. So that means P is equals to 120% of Q. 120% of Q. It can be represented as 6 by 5 of Q. 6 by 5 Q. So P is equals to 6 by 5 Q. This is the first equation. 10% less money than R. 10% less money than R. That means P is equals to 90% of R. That means P is equals to 9 by 10 of R. 9 by 10 of R. Now, when you will put the sum is 5300. So P plus Q plus R is equals to 5300. You can convert it into a single variable. You can convert it into a single variable. That means P plus 5 by 6 P plus 10 by 9 P is equals to 5300. By solving this, so we will just take the LCM of 9 and 6. That will become 18. 18. So 18P 18P plus 6 3 is 15. So 15P plus 9 2 is 18. So 20P is equals to 5300. Sorry, is equals to 5300 into 18. The LCM will be multiplied there into 18. Now, what is this total? This is 53, nothing but 53. So 53 is equals to 5300 into 18. So, as I've already told you, the calculations are so easy in CSAT. So it became P is equals to 1800. Now P is equals, we found that P is equals to 1800. Similarly, we find that Q is equals to 1500 and R is equals to 2000 based on the equation that we have formed earlier. So based on this thing, R is 500 more than Q, that is 25%, 25% more than Q. So this will be the answer. The question is quite lengthy, but the calculation is very simple. So this total will become 53 and so that it will be cancelled out. Okay. A man changes his car for a new one, giving 20% more kilometer per liter. more kilometer per liter, then the fuel price increase by 5%. If you drive the same distance in the given speed, what happens to the fuel bill? What happens to the fuel bill? Okay, see, earlier the man was going by 10 kilometer per hour per liter. So 100 rupees bill was there. 100 rupees bill was there. Suppose 100 rupees per liter fuel was there. 100 rupees per liter was fuel. 100 rupees per liter was fuel, and the average was 10 kilometer per liter. So the bill was 100 liters. That will be a simple assumption. That will be a simple assumption. Now the averages increase. The averages increase. Averages increase. So it is 12 kilometer per liter. 12 kilometer per liter is the average. 12 kilometer per liter is the average, and the fuel prices increased to 105. Fuel prices increased to 105. So 12 kilometer in 105 rupees. 12 kilometer in 105 rupees. So in 10 kilometer in, we will go by unitary method. 10 kilometer in 105 by 12 into 10. That means 87.5 rupees. So previously he was giving 100 rupees for 10 kilometer, and now he is giving 87.5 rupees for 10 kilometer. So how much money he is saving? 100 minus 87.5, that is 12.5 rupees. This 12.5 is, when we will talk in absolute terms, so his bill is getting shorter by 12.5%. So this is how you will do it. So we just assume if the average is 10 kilometers per liter and the fuel cost is 100 rupees, so he is going 10 kilometers for 100 rupees. Now with the average of 12 kilometers per liter, he is going 12 kilometers for 105 rupees. For 105 rupees. Now this 10, if he is going 12 kilometers for 105 rupees, how much money will be he require for 10 kilometers? That we will find using unitary method. And after applying this unitary method, we will find that the bill is 12.5 rupees shorter than the previous bill. So that is why we considered it. Okay. Now this is a combined question of number system as well as percentages. So this is just a simple application. Okay. So if 35% of a number is 406 more than 27% of the same number, then the number is, see, let's say x is 35% of a number say z, y is 27% of a number say z, x minus y is equals to 416. X minus y is 416. It is given in the question. It is more than that. So how much is the percentage gap? 8% of z is equals to 416. That's how we get our answer. 8 by 100 of z is equals to 416. Then z is nothing but 41600 divided by 8. This you can go by simple math. Like you can, if you can assume, so 8 5 is 40, 8 5 is 40, and it is around 41. There is no other option that is similar. So this is how you can avoid calculations also if you want to. Sometimes you can avoid calculations if you want to. Now this is a simple question. 20% of P is 30% of Q is equals to 1 by 6 of R is equals to 1 by 6 of R. Okay, so it is nothing but 2 by 5 of 2 by 5 P is equals to 3 by 10 of Q is equals to 1 by 6 of R. We converted everything into fraction because one was given in fraction and other was given in percentages. One was given in fraction and other was given in percentages. Now, what is the LCM of 6, 10 and 5? That is 60. LCM of 6, 10 and 5 is 30. 30 also can be the LCM there. 30 also can be an LCM there. Okay. So if we like multiply each number with 30, if we multiply each number with 30, so we will get is the 12p is equals to 12p is equals to 9q is equals to 5r. Okay. Now this equation you can check with any of the options. You can check with any of the options. So if you will put these numbers here, no. So 12 into 15 is, sorry, 30. Yes. This is 5r. 2 by 5. So okay, sorry, you said 1 by 5. So this is 60. So 6 into 15 is 90. 9 into 10 is 90. And 5 into 18 is 90. So you'll get, if now just you have to put the values of P and PQ and R based on the options. So that will be the easy way to do this thing. So you get D as an answer. You will get D as an answer. After finding this equation, no, after finding this equation, you can put anything from the options. Okay, three persons ABC run a business together and their shares are 17%, 37%, and 46% respectively. Any profit they earned is distributed according to the proportion to their shares. If the difference of the profits B and A on the given date is 1000%, 1000 rupees. So the difference of the profit is A is getting 37% profit, B is getting 37% profit, A is getting 17% profit. So the difference is 20%. The difference is 20%, and 20% is given as 20% of the profit is given as A. 20% of the profit is equals to 1000. 20% of the profit is equals to 1000. That means profit is equals to 5000. Now, how much is C getting out of this 5000? 46%. So you have to find this 46% of this 5000. So that will be 2300. 46 into 100 by 2, that is 2300. This is how you do this thing. So we just found out the difference between A and B's percentage, and that is given as 100,000 rupees. That is given as 1000 rupees. So based on this 1000, if 20% of the profit is 1000, then by unity method profit is equals to 5000, or you can write it like 20 into profit by 100 is equals to 1000. So you can also do this calculation. This will be 5 and this will be profit is equal to 5000. Either by calculation, either by unity, you will find the profit is 5000. Now C is getting 46% of this 5000. 46% of this 5000. So that is 2300. Okay, and now one more thing that okay, sorry. In an examination paper where maximum marks are 500, A got 10% marks less than B. A got 10% marks less than B. B got 25% marks more than C. C got 20% marks less than D. Okay, so A got 360 marks. One information is given. See, this is the pattern here. So they will give you this cascading percentages, successive percentages, and they will give you data information to begin with. So A is equals to 360. A is equals to 360. Now A got 10% marks less than B. A got 10% marks less than B. Okay, so A is equals to 9 by 10 of B. 90% of B. A is 90% of B. Okay. So 90% of B is equals to 360. That means B is equals to 400. This is how you will get this thing. Now B got 25% marks more than C. That means B is equals to 125% of C and is equals to 400. 400. Okay. Is equals to 400. So B is equals to 125% percent of C. That means C is equals to 100 by 125 of B. And this is equal to 80% of D. 80% of D. So this is this when you will check this fraction, when you will check, you find that B is equals to D is equals to 400. That is nothing but 80% of marks. That is nothing but 80% of marks. I want you to do these calculations by yourself. These are the fractions that you will take. So if A got 10% marks less than B, that means A is equals to 90% of B. This is you have to keep in mind. This is you have to keep in mind. This is the base. This is you have to keep. This you have to keep in mind. Okay, in a medium sized township, the trend of the annual immigration is an addition of 20% of the population as it was in the beginning. 15% of the population as it was at the beginning is estimated to relocate everywhere. Okay, the current population is 8,000, 80,000. What is the likely population in 3 years? Okay, so see, 20% people are out migrating and 15% are addition, 20% are added and 15% are subtracted. So total a 5% is added. Overall a 5% is added every year. 5% is added every year. So first time we will add this 5%. This 5% of 80,000. 5% of 80,000 is nothing but 4,000. 400. 4,000. 4,000. 80,000. No, 4,000. 5% of 80,000 is 4,000. So the next year population will become 84,000. Next year, second year, the population become 84,000. So 5% of this will be 4200. So the population will become 88200, 88,000, 88,200, 88200. So this is the third year. This is the third year. Now 5% of this, 5% of this will be 4410. Nothing but, see, 5% is nothing but 1 by 20. If you are thinking like how I'm doing this, 5% is nothing but 1 by 20. So I will just divide it by 20. So 4410. Now 4410 will add 88200 to 4410. You will get the answer as this 92610. Okay, so this was quite a different question, not difficult but different question. Okay, in an adult population of a city, 40% men and 30% women are married. This is an interesting question. What is the percent of married adult population if no man marries more than one woman and no woman marries more than one man? Okay. Okay, so in this question, see, 40 percent of men, 40 of men, 100 is equals to 30% of women, because every man is marrying only one woman. So this is the case. This is the case. Now you will uh, how to assume in this question. Like the art of assumption is very important. So the LCM of 40 and 30, if you will take it as the larger number, so that will be 120. So 120 women if you are taking, and 90 men you are taking, 90 men you are taking. So you will find that 30, the 40% of 90 and 30% of 120 is same as 36. Same as 36. Same as 36. Okay. Now this so the married population will be 36 into 2, that is 72. And the total population is addition of these numbers, 90 plus 120, that is 210. So you will find this percentage 72 upon 210 into 100. You will find that this is the answer. 34 2 by 7 is the answer. 34.28 to be specific. That is the answer. Just do this common calculation. This assumption is this thing. So you will have to assume the LCM of these numbers as a larger number. This is my just a technique so that your work is easy, because otherwise the question will become tough. In an examination, A has scored 20 marks more than B. B has scored 5% marks, 20 marks more than B. So A is equals to 20 plus B. Okay, B has scored 5% less marks than A. Okay, now B is equals to 95 by 100 of A. 5% like that means 95% of A. 95% of A. So based on these two equations, okay, so we will put this as A minus 20 is equals to 95 by 100 into A. This is nothing but 90 by 20. This is nothing but 90 by 20. So 20A minus 20 is equals to 19A. So A, 19A, okay, this is the thing. So A is equals to 400 based on this thing. A is equals to 400 based on this thing. Okay, based on this thing, A is equals to 400 and B is equals to 400 minus 20, that is 380. Simple question. Again based on the similar pattern that we have discussed earlier. Raju has 9,000 rupees with him and he wants to buy a mobile handset, but he finds that he only has 75% of the amount. So 9,000 is 75% of the amount, that is X. Okay, 75 is 3 by 4. 3 by 4 of X. So 3 by 4 of X is equals to 9,000. X is equals to 12,000. So the total amount of X is, now he borrows 2,000. That means now he has 11,000 rupees. So the amount is 12,000. He has with himself 11,000. So he still needs 1,000 rupees more. Sorry, he still does not have the enough amount because he needs 1,000 rupees more. He needs 1,000 rupees more. Okay. When the runner was crossing the 12-kilometer mark, she was informed that she had completed only 80% of the race. How many kilometers was the run? See, so 80%, 80 by 100 of race is 12 kilometers. 80% of the race is 12 kilometers. So this is simple calculation. That will be 15 kilometers. A student has to get 40% marks to pass in an examination. Suppose he gets 30 marks and failed by 30 marks. Then what are the maximum marks in the organization? So he has got 30 marks and 30 marks more are required. That means 60%, 60 marks is equals to 40% of the total. 60 is equals to 40% of the total. 60 is equals to 40% of the total. So 40 by 100 into x is equals to 60. Okay. So this is nothing but x is equals to 600 by 4, that is 150. Simple calculation, simple calculation. These are very simple questions that UPSC has asked from the topics of percentages and all. Okay. Now this is the thing. This is the question number 29. In a city, 12% households earn less than 30,000 per year. 6% household earn more than 2 lakh per year. 22% households earn more than 1 lakh per year. 990 household, this is a number that is given, and between 30,000 to 1 lakh. Okay, so this is, if you will draw it like this diagram. Okay, so there are 12% people who earn less than 30,000. Okay, 6% households earn more than 2 lakh. Okay, so this is 6% more than 2 lakh, 200,000. 20% household earn more than 1 lakh per year. So see, this total number is 22. This total number is 22. This total number is 22. Uh, that means 16% between 1 lakh to 2 lakh. Between 1 lakh to 2 lakh. 990 household earn between 30,000 to 10,000 to 1 lakh. So this is the number of 990. This is the number of 990 between 30 to 1 lakh. How many households earn between 1 lakh to 2 lakh? Okay, so how you will find this? So consider this percentage. Consider this percentage. This percentage is given as 990. This percentage is given as 990. And what is this percentage? What is this percentage? So this is 12% and this is 22%. This is 12% and this is 22%. That means this is 34%. So 76% is given as, so 76% of x, sorry, 66% of x. So this 66% of x is given as 990. 66% of x is given as 990. That means 66 by 100 into x is equals to 990. This is 6. This is 9. This is 2. This is 3. Okay. So x is 300 by 2. X is 300 by 2. That means 150. So mm, of 1500. So the total number is 1500. So we need to find this now. What we need to find? We need to find the 16%. We need to find 16%. 16% is this, no? 1 lakh, between 1 lakh and 2 lakh. So we need to find 16% of this 1500. 16% of this 1500. So 16 by 100 into 1500. Now, what is 15? 15 is 225 and 15 into 16 is 240. So this will be our answer. This is quite a simple question. We just need to find that the total sum should be 100%. And this was quite a confusing information because greater than 2 lakh 6% is given and more than 1 lakh 22% is given, and this what 22% consists of this 6% also. This consists of this 6% also. This was quite a good question. Now this I just want you to do by the art of assumption. In one case, see, if you will assume b is equals to 0, if you will assume b is equals to 0, then p will become, and a is equals to 100, a is equals to 100, a is equals to 100, then p is equals to 40 and q is equals to 50. That means q is greater than p. Now suppose a is equals to 0 and b is equals to 100. Then in that case, P is equals to 65 and Q is equals to 50. That means P is greater than Q. So we cannot be certain, like for different numbers, there are different results. So therefore, no, none of the above can be concluded. None of the above can be concluded. This is the end of this discussion. Please ask any doubt if they are there. Sorry for being too fast, because now I think that you are able to match up the pace of the calculations, and the calculations I just want to you to do by yourself also. I don't want to be dictating each and every step of the calculation. I want them to do by yourself. My work is this comprehension part, like understanding the question what is the demand of the question, how to interpret the question, that is my task. So all the best.